Join us at Women of Courage and celebrate the achievements of women. Before we begin, we're going to take a few moments to collect ourselves and to relax before we engage into our discussion. What we need to do is to focus now on bringing positive energy into our lives and into the world. The energy that we project every day is the same energy that we get back. We have all seen those people that can walk into a room and they glow. People want to be around them. People feel better being in their presence. That's the energy that we need to create. And once we learn how to do this, our lives will be filled with greatness. We will attract that positive energy. And how we can do this is by changing our outlook, meeting every day with gratitude, thankfulness, optimism, and once you do this, you will see a change in yourself. I want you to take a moment and close your eyes. Think about everything positive in your life: family, friends, a career, your faith. All of this is how you start your day. Every morning when you wake up, I want you to think about what is positive in your life. I want you to list 10 reasons why your life is amazing. You will see the change. You will be changed. You will begin to attract life's blessings. Lead with gratitude. Be thankful and think positive. One of the problems that women have that they do not know they have is the fact that they do not see clearly with respect to their children. They say they love their children. They clean the house, they wash clothes, they tell the children to brush their teeth, comb their hair, make their beds, sit up straight, do their homework, and go to church. The women go to work every day trying to save every penny they can earn so they can advance the lives of their children. The women are frugal. They spend days looking and searching out sales. Yet these women never stop and think about the consequences of their actions when it comes to their safety. They leave stores at night, walking to their cars without a care in the world. They walk around with cell phones glued to their ears, paying no attention to the dangers in their environment. These women also do not pay any attention to the dangers in their home. They do not pay any attention to their husbands having an affair. Do not pay any attention to the raises that he's getting at work or that large insurance policy their husband just took out on their lives. The women are so busy trying to win, they forget what they are actually fighting for. It does not matter how much you love your children. You must stop and think of what will happen to your children if you are no longer alive. Seriously, ask yourself, who is going to care for your children if you are dead? Children need to be cared for long until their 20s and 30s. Your female child will need to be cared for when she is pregnant. Your son will need help when he loses his job. Thousands of women have found themselves caring for their children in one form or another when the women are in their 70s. There is no limit or time on parenting. I want you to start watching the videos on YouTube featuring elephants. There are over 200 elephant videos on YouTube. I want you to watch them all. This will give you a super dose of the needs of children. You are the most important thing in a child's life. If you do not understand this fact, then you might as well hang up your apron. Now, I'm going to read to you an excerpt from the series Do This in Remembrance of Me. This information can be found in the book, Volume 4, Part 2, The Recidivist. The title of this section is Life Saving Advice. If you are not ready to die, you need to read this message and act accordingly. Please read this book carefully because all of the women we discuss are dead. They did not get a chance to finish their lives. The women did not survive the battering or the attack. Not one of the women were armed and most were murdered during a sneak attack, meaning while they were sleeping. Men are trained as boys when they play G.I. Joe on how to conduct a sneak attack. Women are well wishers. We want everything to be well. We are hopers and prayers. We hope that things will get better. We pray that things will get better. But one thing we do not do in all of our hoping and praying is think about what we should do if things do not get better in a reasonable length of time. For example, the next day. Because women are well wishers and hopers and prayers, we forget to take matters in our own hand and consider the occasion when things do not get better. Once a man hits you, slaps you, or hits you in the face with his fist, the party is over. He can say, "Baby, I'm sorry, I did not do it again," but you are a fool if you believe him. Read the story of the women in this book. Their husbands or boyfriends told them, "Baby, I'm sorry, I'll never do it again." In a few days, some of these women were dead. Always expect death to follow the apology. For every woman who is murdered, there is probably a child left behind. That child will be raised by a relative or placed in foster care. If placed in foster care, the child will languish until adopted. Children who have lost their mothers do not always fare well in foster care, even if adopted. Parentless children suffer. How would you like to be told your mother was murdered because your father was angry that the court gave her custody of you? How would you like to be told your mother died and you will never see her again? These children suffer from being left behind. Society has yet to deal with the children who are present during the murder. How many people do you know who have received therapy due to the death of a loved one? It does not matter how many uncles, cousins, sisters, brothers a child has. Nothing takes the place of a parent. The function of a parent is to give a child a feeling of security, homeostasis, and placement. No individual can take the place of a parent. The parent is the rock for which the child is attached to. A parent is the child's strength. A child is able to say no when a parent is present. The child is able to make choices and negotiate when their parents are present. Their sovereignty is taken away from them when they are motherless. Parents are the resolution of life for children, and no child should be made to live without his or her mother. Do not count on the state to place your motherless child with one of your family members. Placing a child in foster care has become as profitable as placing black men in prison. Children need their mothers, and they should not have to suffer all their lives by having their mothers taken away from them. Living without a mother is worse than living without food or water. Social scientists can design thousands of grieving programs for children who have lost their parents, but nothing will replace the pain and void a child feels in not being able to see his or her mother again. There was a man sitting in the bar during a fundraising event. When he learned the money was being collected for a little girl because her mother had recently been murdered, he openly wept in that bar. He said the child's life will never be the same. He knows because he had to live without his mother. Do you realize how powerful the pain was inside of this man for him to weep openly in a bar. He was not only crying for that child, he was crying for himself. There is too much unresolved pain left behind when a parent dies. The murder of a woman is not an isolated event. Your death has a rippling effect. Thousands and thousands of people are affected by one death. Murder is a scar on society. It is a signal that a conflict could not be resolved. Women should not have to live in isolation fearing for their lives. One of our campaigns is to get the word out about motherless children and why women must fight to stay healthy for their children. Here are a few stories of motherless children. See if these stories do not motivate you to stand up and help. Doris Ann McLeod, age 16, was placed in foster care. A pimp lured her from the home. He got her to prostitute once or twice. Then she refused. When she became adamant and wanted to return home, he took her to his basement, hung her from the pipes, and beat her to death. He did this in front of his 3-year-old son. The man is now serving life in a Wisconsin prison. The judge ordered that every day on Doris McLeod's birthday, the man is shown a picture of his victim. Okay, Sherry Canterbury, age 11, lived in a foster care home in Lynn, Massachusetts. February the 24th, 1980, she was strangled to death after arguing with an 18-year-old male living in the same group home. After she was murdered, her body was placed in the trunk in his car. He drove around for 2 days with her body in his car. Brittany Scott, age 5, was murdered while in state custody. Her foster care provider beat her to death January 1993. A 12-year-old foster child in Essex, Scott's care, refused to return home from school, saying that her foster mother had been beating her. The girl told the social worker that Miss Scott had hit her because 2 cans of peaches were open and left in the basement, and that she and other foster children were beaten with extension cords after their clothing was removed. Arilla Catherine Shaw, 19 months, died in a Georgia foster care home January 26, 2000. Kevin King, 20, was convicted in 1992 of the death of Patricia Urbanski, age 15. She died of blunt force trauma, strangulation, and a stab wound to the chest. Kevin King was raised in foster care. Wendy George Dan Rio, age 19, and a mother living in Worcester, Massachusetts. She was strangled to death in a hotel on March 18, 1980. A hotel employee found her body. She was raised in state foster care. Lamarcus Davison, age 28, of Knoxville, Tennessee, orchestrated 2 of the worst murders in state's history. He was sentenced to death in 2010. He was raised in foster care apart from his brother. 2-year-old Isaac Lethbridge died August 16, 2006, because a child welfare caseworker took him from his parents and placed him in an unsafe home environment. He was beaten and burned while in state custody foster care. His foster care person was Charlie Adam Rogers, age 59. He is now on trial for manslaughter. Jasmine Davis was 15 years old when she was beaten to death. On September 2, 2008, the police found the dead teenager and her brother in feces and a urine-soaked bedroom where they were often locked in a closet for days every month. They looked starved and emaciated. They were about 80 pounds, give or take a few pounds. It was as if they had come out of a concentration camp. It was just that bad. The list goes on. Every year, foster care children run away to escape, only to find themselves in the hand of a sexual predator that forces them into prostitution or kills them. I am going to pause for a second to take a short break while you listen to information regarding willpower and encouragement. It is all a matter of learning new behaviors. And please remember, it is easier to build strong minds than to repair injured people. What I said is a modification of a quote by Frederick Douglass. He said, "It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." Now, here's an essay I would like for you to hear. It is entitled Finding the Light. We would like for you to imagine that you are standing in darkness, but there is a circle of light shining all around you. As you walk, the circle of light moves with you. Now imagine you are walking toward another woman standing in darkness. She is also surrounded by a circle of light. Now if you continue to walk toward her, your light and her light will overlap. Now imagine that the two of you begin walking toward a third woman who is standing in darkness, but also surrounded by a circle of light. As the two of you approach the third woman, your lights will begin to overlap. Now there are three of you standing together in the light, surrounded by darkness, and you begin walking toward a fourth woman. What do you think is going to happen? The fourth woman's light will overlap the lights surrounding the three of you. Something else is going to happen. The illumination surrounding the four of you will be greater than the illumination surrounding any one woman, increasing your visual perception, allowing you to peer into the darkness with greater accuracy. We believe every woman living in this country has a light surrounding her that can help solve the problems of domestic violence and sexual violence. We believe women must come together with their individual lights out of the darkness to illuminate all the dark shadows and foes hiding this awful crime. If the women in this country and the world begin speaking with one voice to their fathers, to their husbands, to their sons, to their brothers, to their uncles, to their nephews, to their cousins, and to their grandfathers, sooner or later the men in this country and the world will hear us, and they will understand that they must join us in stopping violence against all women. Our voices must become a crescendo, and we must work together. Galatians 6:1. Bear one another's burden and rid ourselves of guilt and sin. Some years ago, I read the book entitled Evil Under the Sun. The book was written by Agatha Christie and acted by her most famous detective, Hercule Poirot. Evil Under the Sun was published in England by Agatha Christie June 1941, which means Miss Christie wrote Evil Under the Sun during the Battle of Britain. Think of her tenacity. Her country was at war, yet she sat down and wrote a novel to entertain people. There's a passage in Deuteronomy 30:19 that describes that. Today I am giving you a choice. I am now giving you a choice between life and death, between God's blessing and God's curse. And I call heaven and earth to witness the choice you make. If you are a person who would like to contribute to our discussion of violence against women, please email us at murderedvoices@gmail.com, or you can call us at 734-786-3233 and leave a message. We are forming a think tank of individuals that would like to contribute to the solution of this problem. The death of these women is deafening. I am tired of this violence. We need to seek a solution. Part of this solution is discussing this subject with males when they are 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. Males need to, and girls also need to accept they may be rejected by people during their lifetime. There's nothing we can do about the rejection except continue to live our lives. The violence in our community is devastating. Violence must be confronted. If you are of any profession and you would like to contribute, just send us information. You don't even have to send us your name. But if there's information that you can share that will help us with this problem, we would appreciate it. Lend your voice to our effort. Again, we can be reached at the email address murderedvoices@gmail.com. We can also be reached on the phone at 734-786-3233. If you have any time to spare, join us. We will appreciate any contribution. Hi, I decided that at the end of every show for the next year, I would share excerpts from a book that I believe would enhance your life and make you a stronger thinker and problem solver. All characteristics that will help you win at life and raise stronger and healthy children. Many of you turn your nose up at reading, or you snub the advice that you must read in life to succeed, or you compare the cost of a book to getting a new pair of shoes or getting your hair done or your nails done. The reason why you make these cost comparisons is because you do not truly value a book. A book is a magnificent instrument that can change the course of your life and the lives of your children. In later shows, I plan to discuss with you how a book changed the lives of certain people. I understand that you do not earn a lot of money, and this money is valuable to you because of all the things you see advertised that you desire, and you do not want to spend a lot of money on a book. A new pair of shoes is more valuable to you than a book. If you truly cannot afford a book, then you need to go to the library and take your children with you for a day of reading. You must gird your loins and proceed at educating yourself. Some of you seem to think that having a conversation with your stupid girlfriend or your stupid boyfriend will help you more than reading a book, when actually having a conversation with your loudmouth girlfriend or loudmouth boyfriend is merely a cathartic, allowing you to blow off steam and proclaim how life has been so unfair to you. What you do not realize is that the advice coming from your do nothing girlfriend or your do nothing boyfriend is advice coming from a fool. Your do nothing girlfriend is a sexual opportunist looking for a man she can impress with her body. When her vagina fails her, what will your girlfriend do but go to work at McDonald's or Wendy's at the age of 60 and continue to spread her ignorance at church? Her daughter will be on the street and her son in prison. She will never realize that her life is the result of the decision she made not to educate herself through reading. All her life, she felt that she had something better to do than reading. She had something better to do than reading with her children. She had something better to do than working with her children. And that was going to the bar, trying to entertain a man or trying to find some man that would buy her a pair of shoes. A man spending money on her was more important than educating herself. In later shows, I'm going to spend a great deal of time giving you some examples of fools. These are people who think they are smart, willing to trade their body and integrity for a dollar bill. These people end up in the cemetery after lamenting each and every day of their lives about their unfilled dreams. Do not be upset by the use of the word fool. You tell me if a woman is not a fool to instruct her grandson to kill her husband for a $25,000 life insurance. Let that sink in for a moment. Instead of instructing her grandson to make something of his life, the grandmother instructs her grandson to become a murderer, to kill his grandfather. I have this anecdotal advice for you about reading. Listen to this short true story. A friend and I were talking. She said a woman she knew called her and sought to renew their friendship. During their conversation, the woman told my friend that President Trump had done so much for black people, and that's why she voted for him in 2016, and she was going to vote for him again in the upcoming election. My friend asked her a question. She said, "Tell me some of the things that Trump has done for black people." The woman said, "A whole lot." My friend persisted and asked her to name one thing that Trump had done for black people. The woman could not. The woman kept using the phrase "a whole lot of things." My friend said after a while she stopped talking. Finally, the conversation was over and my friend hung up. My friend said, as she hung up, she made up her mind right then that she would never renew her friendship with this woman. Now ask yourself why. Why would she not renew her friendship with this woman? You can answer this question in two words. The woman was a poor thinker. She never investigated anything that was told to her. Whether you know it or not, a person who is a poor thinker, who does not examine his or her thinking, is a very dangerous person indeed. Think about it. The book Life Saving Advice presumes to give women and young girls advice about their lives. The assumption is made that these two groups are in need of this valuable information. The assumption is based on a 20-year study into the murders of more than 20,000 American women. Certain conclusions were made during this study. The conclusions were that many women do not recognize they are in danger. They do not recognize the danger signs in their relationships that can lead to their murders. Many women are oblivious to the danger. This information is not taught in the home and it is not taught in schools. Therefore, women are exceedingly vulnerable to violence due to their lack of knowledge. Two women were shot to death in 2016 in the city of Oak Park, Michigan. The women were sisters, which means that the women supported one another throughout their lives. I believe that these two women could have possibly escaped this violence if they had had more information regarding violence against women. If they had known that the most dangerous time for any woman is when she either separates from a man or boyfriend or when she's moving out of the home. No woman should attempt this action unless it is carefully planned, and the woman should leave without the spouse or boyfriend knowing where she has gone. Never give the spouse or boyfriend knowledge that you want to leave him. Never go back to the home for items that you have left. When you leave, leave and plan never to come back. Leave the state. In the book Life Saving Advice, you learn violence against women and children is not a man versus women issue. Violence against women and children has nothing to do with the war of the sexes, and it has nothing to do with homosexuality or with a woman wearing the pants in the family. Violence against women and children is about equality and about sovereignty and about freedom and about power. Violence against women and children is a community issue, and violence against women and children should be seen as a community issue by all groups in our society. The church should see violence against women and children as a community issue. The police should see violence against women and children as a community issue. The legislature should see violence against women and children as a community issue. And the judiciary should see violence against women and children as a community issue. Once the women and men in this country see violence against women and children as a community issue affecting our stability as a nation, we will see it is time for us to change. It is time for America to attempt the greatest social change it has ever conducted since the freeing of the black slaves, because violence against women and children strikes at the soul of our consciousness and the reputation of America as being a free and just nation. Violence against women and children is not a pleasant subject for conversation, and many people simply ignore the violence around them or pretend it doesn't exist even when they see violence occurring in their own family. Nevertheless, violence against women and children is a real issue. Your daughter and your grandchildren are being injured or murdered every day, so this issue must be confronted by the entire community if the violence is to stop. The book Life Saving Advice states apathy is not the answer. Action is the answer. And in order to take action, you must have information. Thus, the purpose of the book and our website, touchedbythelight.us. After reading this book, we ask that you visit our other website, www.nisv.info, and download our free ebooks that will give you some of the information that you will need. The book, Life Saving Advice, demonstrates that violence against women is taking an enormous emotional and financial toll on this country. Every day, our sons and daughters are falling prey to the seduction of sex and drugs. Our children are being led to believe a man should do anything for money, including selling his body for sex. Our children are also being taught integrity is spelled CHEAT. If you can't win, cheat. Man should do whatever he has to do to get ahead. It is okay to lie, cheat, and steal. It's okay to sell women and children. Deceit is all a part of the game. 12 and 13-year-old girls are being taught to dress seductively without being mature enough to have custody of their bodies. Statutory rape is no longer vigorously prosecuted in this country, allowing for the wholesale seduction of young children. We cannot sit in church and hope that the problem will go away. We must fight. We must have courage in face of adversity to stand up if we are to live our lives in peace and harmony. We must break through the barriers of fear. We must decide if what we fear is more dangerous to us than doing nothing. We can no longer sit in huddles and gossip about the next door neighbor or your friend's husband. You must make a contribution to society. Your contribution can be as little as becoming informed and teaching your children about integrity and character and respecting themselves and others. Or you can go beyond collecting information and participating in the elevation of the self esteem of those living around you. Either way, you will be making a difference and a contribution to your society and to your community and to yourself. The survival of any people is predicated on the lives of the young and how well a community changes. History has taught us that the survival of any species is predicated on the adaptation and change. We must now seriously consider changing if we are to survive as a nation that our forefathers designed. Please take time to go to our website, touchedbythelight.us, and read the first chapter of this book. We believe you will be impressed and you'll find that there's information in this book that can help you and members of your family.
For just $13.95, we'll give you a book that will save your life. Not your life alone, but for the entire woman you interact with. Life-Saving Advice is a book by a woman who has seen it all. The 248-page black and white print gives you massive insight to identify potential danger around you. It outlines the characteristics of harmful people likely to put your life at risk. Isn't it life-saving? Hurry now. Go to https://touchedbythelight.us/regular publications instantly and obtain your copy. Making an excuse is easy. The consequences are fussy. In fact, we always find ourselves failing to achieve our goals because we succeed in making excuses. The good news is, the author of What You Must Do to Win has yet another book for you. The Cure You Need for a Change. What You Need to Win. The book title speaks it all. Reading its 276 pages is worth it. Be a courage woman to read and inspire others. Go to https://touchedbythelight.us/regular-publications and get your copy now for only $14.95. Life is at its best when you get to the mountaintop. Nevertheless, at times we lose our way and land in the valley. Adversity comes and shakes us in fear. What do you do at such a time? Where do you get your strength when it's gone? Be Not Defeated in Hard Times is the book you need to overcome such fears and gain back your strength. It's cheap, $10.95 only. To purchase this book, log into https://touchedbythelight.us/regular-publications before it's out of stock. Are you a woman seeking solace? Or are you a woman in need of the comfort of prayers? Or are you one distressed and disturbed? It doesn't matter your niche. The Prayer Jar is a book just for you. It deserves your study table. The author, a fellow woman, writes this book inspirationally to address your prayer needs in every situation. The book does not only bring you closer to God, but it also leads you to a mature prayerful life. The printing is in black and white. Don't wait. Go to https://touchedbythelight.us/regular-publications to get your copy instantly for $14.95 only. The Prayer Jar, a Christian book for your prayer life.
Murdered Voices is not a murder mystery or a thriller where the victim is put on public display. Murdered Voices is a book that is the preamble to the examination of the murders of 252,287 American women, giving recognition to their lives. Murdered Voices is filled with information that is not commonly known, which we want to share with you. We want the American woman to believe something can be done to prevent the rapes and murders that are occurring across our country. Some of you may want to sit at home and pretend all is well, but every time your daughter walks out of your home, the possibilities that she may not return grows exponentially. The only chance she has to survive is if you stand up, become informed, and participate in a defense of yourself. Also, for you to say, "My husband loves me" in the face of adultery is comparable to committing suicide. There is nothing wrong with loving a man and being careful, but not foolish at the same time. Just because you are married does not mean your brain has to stop working. 2 plus 2 equals 4, whether you are married or single. The question is, why does he want to take a large life insurance policy out on your life? For example, the policies that were taken out on Miss Sherry Dolly, Miss Lena Dukes, Miss Treese Wilbury, Miss Marion Ills, Miss Carol Bruce, Miss Nanette Hanson, Miss Leslie Larson, Miss Kathy Frost, Miss Kathy Frost Larson. These women are all dead now. Their husbands took out large insurance policies on their lives. Their husbands took out large insurance policies on their lives, but the couple did not have any children. Would it not help you to know how other women were murdered in this country and the signs that led up to their deaths? Do you not think this information would improve your chances of survival? Murdered Voices is a book that should be read by women and men alike. The reason why this book should be read by men and women alike is because someday you will be a parent, and it is your instructions day in and day out that will save your child's life once they enter the world as adults. You must not insulate your children from the evils of the world. If you do this, your children will be ill prepared to protect themselves. Some people lie, some people cheat, and some people steal, and your children should know this and expect violence to be visited upon them at any moment by anyone, friend or foe. Murdered Voices discusses life and death in the most realistic terms. It is a frank discussion about the number of women being murdered in this country. Murdered Voices is not sentimentally read to tug at your heartstrings. The book offers a frank picture of what is occurring all over America. The sole purpose of the book Murdered Voices is to provide information as to how women are being murdered in this country and to offer information to help women protect themselves, both young and old. This information is food for thoughts for parents of young children. This is important information because women represent more than half of this country's population, yet they do not have the custody of their bodies, nor do they have political power to enact laws to govern their safety. Let me repeat this. The information that is being shared in the book Women of Courage is food for thought for both parents of young children. This is important information because women represent more than half of this country's population, yet they do not have custody of their bodies, nor do they have the political power to enact laws to govern their safety. Women must finally understand that violence is a necessary component to wielding control in a society, in a marriage, and violence is practiced every day by men seeking to maintain this control. Women must finally understand unless they stand up, there will always be someone telling them what to do, directing the course of their lives, and guaranteeing the destruction of their daughters. Women must finally understand that their enslavement is tied to the nation's economy. I'm going to repeat this. Women must finally understand that violence is a necessary component to wielding control in society and in a marriage, and violence is practiced every day by men seeking to maintain this control. Women must finally understand unless they stand up, there will always be someone telling them what to do, directing the courses of their lives, and guaranteeing the destruction of their daughters. Women must finally understand that their enslavement is tied to the nation's economy. It is no accident that women are taught to be prejudiced against prostitutes. Society teaches you to dislike these women. Why should I care about a woman who sells her body? You should care because these women are forced into prostitution and the money made off their labor is being used to ensnare you and enslave you. It is no accident that women are smuggled into this country every day to be sold so men can make money. And it's no accident that women are taught it's more important to have a large buttocks or a big breast than having an expansive mind. Read Murdered Voices with an open mind. Granted, no one wants to learn about the murder of a woman and face the fact that we live in a violent nation. But it's better to know what is going on around you than to wake up one morning facing the death of your daughter on a college campus or the death of your elderly mother at the hands of a dope addict. Read and prepare to change your mind and become involved. Here are a few words from the author of the book Murdered Voices. During the publication of this book, I spoke to three men. Each man made a negative comment regarding the reading of the book. One man said that no one would read each individual name on the list in the book. The second man said no one would purchase the book because people were too busy worrying about money to read or to purchase a book. In hard times, no one buys books. What American woman would be interested in what I had to say and purchase the book? The third man said some of the books were too large, that no woman would take the time to read the books. He said the number of pages in each book would immediately turn women off. No woman or man would purchase a book consisting of 400 to 500 pages. Needless to say, I was disheartened for a second. Then I sat and thought about their comments. Their words were not complimentary to women or to people in general. There's nothing to life during hard times but meat and potatoes. Greatness has descended on the earth. Life was so brutal that reading could be ignored. I decided to persevere. These men had to be wrong. I continued to believe that reading, regardless of the number of pages in a book, is seen as an activity that enriches the soul and enlightens the mind, leading men and women to greater and greater heights and inventions. The fate of America will be decided by how well we nourish our minds and assimilate information to continue our growth. I decided that I shall continue to believe that people will see that reading leads to a better life. When you read, you can learn to eat healthier and to be a better manager of your money and life. Reading allows you to quickly prepare for a dinner party or help you impress a friend. When you read, you are open to adventure and confidence bathes your spirit. Reading is the commencement of light and the cessation of darkness. Reading is the activity that puts the soul to flight. If you desire a change in the status and wealth of your life, then reading is an activity that you can ill afford not to do. You can go to the website touchedbythelight.us and read the first chapter of this book. Murdered Voices will enhance your life. Dear listeners, help us save a life. Stop breast cancer from taking lives. Will you assist us in putting the booklet Black Women and Breast Cancer in the hands of a million people? Please go to the website www.touchedbythelight.us and download the booklet Black Women and Breast Cancer. Then email this booklet to 5 friends, asking them to email the booklet to 5 of their friends. We are trying to reach a million women with this information to save lives. The death of one woman to breast cancer from our community is one woman too many. We thank you for your support. After our broadcast, you should go to YouTube and watch our video for a second and third time. This will reinforce the information that we are discussing. When you watch our videos on YouTube, it would be helpful to us if you would subscribe to the channel Touched by the Light Publishing. This way, you will be reminded when we publish another video. And if our videos are helpful to you, tell a friend or a coworker. Thank you so much.
We at Touched by the Light are on a continuous search to help the less fortunate of us. While the most float on the surface of life problems, dealing with everyday issues, some of us have to face a lack of the most basic needs in life, and unfortunately, that lack, with time, only gets worse. We feel that when we renovate the life of the most vulnerable populations, when we see the touching and the shining smile on their faces, our life means something again. Our hearts fulfill with happiness. We feel alive and present, and our day comes true. In our latest projects, we help the people we serve. We help the women in need, and we help the people who ended in prison after non-stop society rejections. Our secret? Education. Not schools, not universities, but books. We believe in self education. We believe that by reading, light strikes through into the lives of people, hence the name Touched by the Light. Our core belief is that when we help people read, we renew their minds, we relieve their suffering, we show them that a future is an option, and having goals is also an option, but the past is the past. You know, we have a saying at Touched by the Light. We say that the future is only a reflection of the present. What you invest into right now is what sculpts your future.
The reason why the decision you make regarding your safety and your health are so important is because you are a mother and you are the only natural protector of your children. If you make the wrong decision regarding your safety or health, your children will be left motherless. A motherless child is the most wretched person in the world. Understand this. Motherless children must do as they are told. They have no negotiator, no sovereignty over their bodies. The children that survive foster care are dumped off into the streets with no family affiliation, support, or hope to begin a future. What are they to do? They are poorly educated and bruised and battered emotionally. Predators spend their days looking for motherless children. Motherless children are profitable. The predators use their being naive, and motherless children are used sexually and financially. The motherless children are obliging because they have been trained to be conciliatory all their lives under foster care system. Our society has moved so fast in the last 50 years that it has not considered those among us who are living in pain. The casualties are accumulating in our cemeteries. Many of these individuals were motherless children. It is not fair for you to leave your children motherless, regardless of what society or your girlfriend has to say with respect to your responsibility toward your children. You are intrinsically linked to the destiny of your child's life. The responsibility of the mother toward her child cannot be abdicated, so every time you consider your safety, you must ask yourself, have I placed myself in a situation of danger, which means talking too much, by my decision or my failure to respond to a dangerous signal? If you choose to ignore this warning, or if you feel insulted by our insolence, the next time you hear a child cry, stop and listen to the wailing when that child cries, "Mommy." A foster child running away is an ongoing problem. At the age of 18, foster care children are dumped on the street without family or friends, education, resources to support themselves to try to begin a life. This is frightening. Volunteer to reduce the number of women dying, thereby reducing the number of children entering foster care. We do not need any more children in foster care. They are prone to victimization. You decide, do you want your child standing over your casket crying, or will you look at your circumstances and decide for your child? Leave the state and go nowhere familiar. Dear listeners, help us save a life. Stop breast cancer from taking lives. Will you assist us in putting the booklet Black Women and Breast Cancer in the hands of a million people? Please go to the website www.touchedbythelight.us and download the booklet Black Women and Breast Cancer. Then email this booklet to 5 friends, asking them to email the booklet to 5 of their friends. We are trying to reach a million women with this information to save lives. The death of one woman to breast cancer from our community is one woman too many. We thank you for your support. This is a congratulations and a shout out to the Women of Courage show. Starting in July, we will be publishing articles in the Native Sun. The editors of both papers agreed to allow us to publish articles in their papers. In keeping with our mission, the articles will detail information regarding 4 linking subjects: reading, self-esteem, sexual abuse, and sex trafficking. To support our mission to bring you information on these subjects, we will appreciate it if you would advertise in these papers. These newspapers support us, we should support them. Give us a shout out at murderedvoices@gmail.com if you read, enjoy, and find our articles helpful. We thank you for listening and supporting our show. Our show could not have a greater audience. Don't forget to email us for dates, times, and locations for our Saturday meetings. God bless.
You have three choices. You can sit on your couch and do nothing. You can participate sometime hardly doing anything. Or you can step into the future that you designed. The decision is yours. What are you waiting for? You either stand up for yourself with the chance of winning or failing, or grow old, mean, bitter, and hateful, driving your children to run from home or move to another state because of your archaic ideas. Time is running out. What are you going to do?
Dear male listeners, our show may be called Women of Courage, but our name should not stop you from listening to our show. You have as much to learn and to consider as women. Why? Because many of you are fathers, sons, and brothers, and you need to understand those forces and situations that affect the female members of your family. So we do implore you to listen to our show with an ear for understanding. Thank you. Join us at the Women of Courage show every Friday from 3 to 4 p.m. and every Sunday from 8 to 9 a.m. for information that will change your life. You can also visit us at our website, touchedbythelight.us, for more information. Thank you. If you do not like your life, then change it. Listen to us when we broadcast, and we can help you find a new way.